Jason was a normal human, just like everyone else. He lived in a small apartment on the edge of the city. He had no job, no girlfriend, and no real dreams. Every day felt the same, boring, slow, and empty. The only thing he truly loved was space, stars, and old science fiction books. One night, everything changed. It was raining outside, and Jason was sitting near his window. He was playing with an old radio he had found in a junk shop. He turned the knob slowly, listening to random noise and broken signals. Then, suddenly, he heard something strange. It was not music, not human voices either. It was a soft humming, then a clear tone, like a code, and then words that were not from Earth. They sounded alien, but somehow, Jason understood them. Target located, match confirmed. Preparing arrival, the voice said. Jason stood up quickly, feeling cold and confused. He looked outside. But the street was empty. He turned off the radio and laughed nervously. "Maybe I'm just tired," he whispered. But deep inside, he felt something was coming. He went to bed early, trying to forget the strange signal, but around midnight, a glowing light filled his room. Jason opened his eyes and gasped. A circle of golden light appeared in the air, spinning like a portal, and from the portal 2 figures stepped into his room. They were not human, but they looked close enough. Both were girls, tall, beautiful, and glowing with a soft alien light. One had blue skin and long silver hair, her eyes calm and serious. The other had green skin and short golden hair, her smile wild and confident. They looked at Jason like he was treasure. The blue-skinned girl spoke first. "I am Amira of the Voltari Empire. We have searched for you across the stars." Then the green-skinned one stepped forward. "I'm Lixa from the Xeron Federation, and he's mine. I found him first." Jason was frozen, his mouth open. "Wait, what? You know me?" "Why me?" he asked. Amira raised a small glowing device and showed him a hologram. It was his DNA, his face, and something else, a symbol he didn't recognize. "Your DNA is rare, 1 in a trillion. It can unlock the Unity protocol," she said. Jason didn't understand, but Lixa rolled her eyes. "Forget the science talk, human. Just know that you are special, and both of us need you." Amira frowned at Lixa. "We don't need him. I need him. The Voltari need him." "No way," Lixa replied. "He's mine. I found the signal first." The girls stepped closer to each other, and the air began to buzz. Jason felt the energy between them grow heavy. The light bulbs in the room flickered, and his table cracked. "Stop, stop, please. I don't understand any of this," Jason shouted. But they didn't listen. Amira raised her hand, and a soft blue shield appeared around Jason. Lixa summoned a fireball and aimed it at Amira. The 2 alien girls were ready to fight over him. Jason ducked under his bed as their powers clashed. Sparks flew, glass shattered, and the floor began to shake. Then everything stopped. The girls froze, breathing hard, and looked at Jason. He peeked from under the bed, eyes wide. "You're going to destroy my room?" he said, half angry, half scared. Amira looked sorry, but Lixa just grinned. "Time to leave Earth," she said. Pressing a button on her wrist, a beam of light surrounded Jason, and before he could speak, they all vanished into the air. The apartment was empty. The lights were dead. The rain outside kept falling, but Jason was no longer there. He had been taken into space by 2 alien girls who refused to share, and this was just the beginning. Jason woke up floating. He was inside a glowing pod, wrapped in soft blue light. His body felt light, his head heavy, and his heart confused. Was it all a dream? The portal, the girls, the fight? Then the pod door slid open with a soft hiss. Jason fell forward, landing on a smooth silver floor. He looked around and saw he was no longer on Earth. He was inside a spaceship, large, silent, and glowing with strange lights. "Welcome aboard," said a smooth voice. It was Amira, the blue-skinned alien girl. She stood tall in a silver uniform, her calm eyes watching him. Lixa appeared behind her, arms crossed, smirking. "Told you he'd faint like a baby." She laughed. "I didn't faint." Jason muttered, standing up slowly. He stared at the view outside the window. Endless stars, planets, and a bright blue nebula glowing nearby. This is real, he whispered. Yes, Jason, Amira said, walking closer. Now in orbit around planet Velkara, neutral space. This is my ship, Lixa interrupted. My rules. Amira rolled her eyes. You mean, stolen ship? Jason turned to them both. Why am I here? They both answered at the same time. Because we need you, Amira waved her hand. And a hologram appeared in the air. It showed a massive, ancient structure floating in space. This is the Ark of Unity. It's been locked for thousands of years. Only your DNA can open it, Lixa said, stepping forward. It's part of an ancient system built by a forgotten race. Why me? Jason asked. I'm just a guy from Earth. You're not just a guy, Amira said. Your DNA holds something special. It can bring peace to our galaxies, or destroy everything. Jason sat down slowly on a floating chair, still confused. So you both brought me here just for that? Silence. Then Lixa spoke, her voice softer. Not just for that. She said, I like you. Okay? You're different. Amira nodded slowly. I feel the same. But that doesn't mean we can share. Jason looked at both of them. Too powerful. Alien girls, beautiful, dangerous, and emotional. He felt like he was in the middle of a galactic love triangle. Suddenly, the ship lights turned red. Warning, enemy vessel detected, said an automated voice. Who's attacking us? Jason shouted. Amira checked the screen. Her face turned pale blue. It's the Night Hunters. They're after him. The ship shook as a laser blast hit the shields. Hold tight, Lixa shouted, running to the controls. Jason was thrown to the floor as the ship turned sharply. Why are they after me? He yelled. Because if they get your DNA, they'll use it to control the Ark, Amira replied. And destroy both our worlds outside. 3 black ships chased them through an asteroid field. Lixa dodged fast, spinning through narrow gaps. Amira fired back with plasma beams. Jason held on tight, feeling every turn in his stomach. Then the ship was hit hard from below. We're losing power. Amira cried. Jason, come with me, Lixa shouted, grabbing his hand. They ran down a hallway filled with blinking lights and smoke. She opened a hidden door, revealing an escape pod. Get in, she said. No, Amira appeared behind. Them, he comes with me. The girls glared at each other, not just angry, jealous, emotional, burning with feelings. Jason raised his hands. Stop it. You're both risking everything. They looked at him, and for a moment neither spoke. I'm not just cargo, Jason said. I'm a person, not a prize. He stepped back from the pod. Neither of you owns me. Suddenly, the ship rocked again, harder this time. A huge explosion lit up the hallway. Jason was knocked off his feet, and the screen went black. Darkness. Jason opened his eyes slowly. Alarms were ringing in the distance. Red lights blinked above him. His ears buzzed and his head felt heavy. He was lying on the floor of the ship, smoke filling the air. Sparks fell from the ceiling like fireflies. He coughed and stood up. Amira, Lixa. He called out, no answer. He limped forward. Passing shattered screens and damaged walls, the ship had been hit hard and it wasn't flying anymore. Through a cracked window, he could see a strange sky, dark purple clouds, 2 moons and blue grass. They had crash-landed on a planet. But where were the girls? He found Amira first, trapped under a metal beam. She was hurt but alive. Jason pushed with all his strength and pulled her free. Thank you, she whispered, touching his face gently. You're stronger than you look. He smiled weakly. Where's Lixa? They searched together and soon found her in the engine room. She had a deep cut on her arm but was already trying to repair the ship. Nice nap, human, she said with a grin. I kept things alive while you were dreaming. Jason helped her up, and the 3 of them stepped outside. The planet was quiet, but strange too quiet. There were no animals, no wind, just a deep hum under the ground. Jason looked around nervously. We're not alone, he said suddenly. A shadow moved across the sky. A black ship hovered above them, shaped like a claw. Then, without warning, 6 tall armored figures dropped from the ship. Their eyes glowed red, and they moved like machines. Mira stepped in front of Jason there. Night Hunters, elite trackers, Lixa pulled out her weapon. They don't talk. They don't feel. They just take. One of the hunters stepped forward and spoke in a low, robotic voice. Deliver the human, or be erased. Jason felt a chill. Why me? He asked again, his voice shaking. Amira answered without turning her head. Because you're the key, Jason. The last piece of an ancient code, Lixa added. They want to control the Ark. And they need your blood to open it. Jason's heart raced. What happens if they open it? They'll activate a weapon powerful enough to erase all life in the galaxy, Amira said. The night hunter stepped closer. Jason's instincts screamed at him to run. But this time, he didn't. Instead, he stepped between the girls and... The enemies know, he said. You can't have me. One of the hunters raised a weapon. Amira created a blue energy shield. Lixa launched a blast of fire. The battle began. Jason ran to a crashed escape pod and searched for tools. He wasn't a soldier, but he wouldn't be useless either. He found a small device-a-pulse emitter and remembered Amira's lessons. He charged it and ran back into the fight. The girls were fighting like stars clashing in the sky. Amira moved like water, graceful and fast. Lixa burned like fire. Wild and strong, Jason slid under a hunter and placed the emitter. Boom, a shockwave. Blasted the enemy's back, giving the girls a moment to breathe. Not bad, human, Lixa said, smiling. You're learning, Amira added with a nod. But then, something strange happened. The last night, Hunter stepped back, pressed a button on his arm, and a voice played. It was Jason's voice. Help me, someone, please. Jason froze. That's... From my room, the night I heard the signal, they used your own signal to lure us, Amira said, shocked. They've been watching you long before we arrived. Jason stared at the enemy who sent you. He shouted. The hunter removed his helmet. Jason gasped. The face was human, old, scarred, and tired. I did, the man said. Because you don't belong to them. You belong to us. Jason took a step back. What are you talking about? The man smiled coldly. You're not the first, Jason. You're just the only one who survived. Asterisk. Jason stood still, heart pounding. The man in front of him was human, but twisted. His face was covered in scars, and his eyes were like frozen. Fire. You're one of them, Jason whispered. The man nodded slowly. I was taken from Earth too. Many years ago, but I was rejected. They said my DNA wasn't perfect, so I made myself perfect. Jason stepped back. Amira and Lixa moved closer to protect him. You used the night hunters to chase me. Jason said, You sent the signal? Yes, the man replied. Because only you can unlock the Ark, and I will take that gift from you. Suddenly, the sky above turned black, thunder rolled, and the planet itself began to hum. Cracks opened in the ground. Glowing with golden light, Amira's eyes widened. This world is reacting to him, she said, looking at Jason. Lixa stepped forward, serious for once. This isn't just a planet, she said. It's a trial world. Jason looked confused. What's a trial world? Amira pointed to the glowing cracks. Ancient creators built this place to test the chosen one. It scans your soul, your mind, your heart, Lixa added. If you pass, you unlock power no one else can control. Jason's voice trembled. And if I fail, they both answered together, you die. The ground split open, and a platform rose from the earth. It had 3 glowing doors, each with a different symbol, a sword, an eye, and a heart. Jason felt a strange pull toward them, like the planet was calling him. I have to do this alone, don't I? He asked. Amira touched his shoulder. Yes, but we'll be waiting. Lixa handed him a small charm, glowing with red flame. For luck, human, don't embarrass us. Jason took a deep breath and stepped onto the platform. The doors opened. Silently, one by one, he walked into the trial of courage. Trial 1. Courage. Jason found himself in a black tunnel. No sound, no light. Then the ground shook. A giant beast appeared made of shadows and fire. It had no eyes, but it saw everything. Jason ran at first, but the door behind him vanished. He had to face it. He picked up a spear made of light. Lying near his feet, the beast roared, charging at him. Jason stood still, shaking, but held the spear tight. At the last second, he closed his eyes and threw it with all his strength. Boom, light exploded, the beast vanished, and the tunnel turned gold. Trial 2. Wisdom. He entered a white room filled with mirrors. Each mirror showed a different version of Himrich. Poor, famous, alone. A voice whispered, "Which one is the real you?" Jason stared at the reflections. All of them looked real. All of them looked wrong. Then he remembered Amira's words, "Your choices make you." He looked at the mirror where he stood between Amira and Lixa, both smiling. "That's me." He said. The mirror melted into light and the door opened. Trial 3. Love. Jason walked into a quiet garden, stars above and soft music in the air. In the center stood two glowing figures, Amira and Lixa. But something felt strange. They spoke at the same time. "You must choose one or lose both." Jason's heart raced. He remembered everything, how they fought, how they protected him, how they cared. He stepped forward and said, "No, I won't choose. I love them both." Silence fell. Then the sky exploded with color. The garden vanished, and a final voice spoke. "Unity accepted."
Ow.
Jason opened his eyes back on the real planet. Amira and Lixa were waiting, tears in their eyes. "You passed," Amira said softly. Lixa punched his arm and smiled. "Took you long enough." Suddenly the ground shook again, but this time it wasn't part of the trial. A giant doorway appeared, floating above the valley. The Ark of Unity, ancient and beautiful, had awakened. It opened slowly, golden light pouring out. But behind them, the scarred man reappeared. "With an army, this power belongs to me," he shouted. Jason looked at the doorway, then at the girls. He took their hands and stepped forward. "No," Jason said. "It belongs to all of us." The Ark of Unity stood tall in the sky. It wasn't made of stone or metal. It looked alive, like a floating temple made of stars and memory. Its doors pulsed with golden light, calling Jason forward. Behind him, the ground cracked under enemy boots. The scarred man from Earth marched with his Night Hunter army. He pointed at Jason, shouting, "Give me the code and I'll let them live." Jason didn't move. He stood between the two girls, Amira and Lix's hands locked in theirs. "I passed the trials," he said quietly, "and I didn't choose. Just one." The air shimmered around them. "You broke the final rule," the scarred man said. "No one has ever chosen both." Amira looked at Jason, eyes full of trust. Lixa squeezed his hand tighter. "Whatever happens next," she whispered, "we face it together." Jason stepped forward. The ark reacted, spinning faster, its light turning violet and blue. Suddenly, symbols rose into the air languages. Not spoken for 1,000,000 years, they danced around Jason, scanning his body. Then the ark spoke. DOD code, detected air. Conflict multiple, links balance broken. A shockwave burst from the ark and hit the sky. Storms formed above. Then planets shifted in the distance. Jason fell to his knees. "What did I do?" Amira helped him up. "You chose love without limits," she said. "And the ark doesn't understand it." Lixa looked at the clouds swirling above. "You didn't just open the ark," she whispered. "You tore open reality." Suddenly, time froze. Jason blinked hand. The world around him had changed. He was no longer on the planet. He stood in a white void, surrounded by hundreds of Jasons. Each one different. One wore a crown. One was a soldier. One was alone in the dark. Then he saw them versions of Amira and Lixa from other universes. Some were enemies, some were lovers, some were gone. Jason stepped back in shock. "What is this place?" A voice echoed around him, soft but powerful. "You broke the pattern. Human," it said, "by choosing both. You created a paradox." Then the scarred man appeared in front of him. But this time, he wasn't angry. He was afraid. "I did this once," he said, and the multiverse shattered. "They called me mad, a danger, a mistake. That's why I wanted to take your place." Jason shook his head. "But I'm not like you. I didn't choose. For power, I chose because I care." The white void began to crack. Time restarted. Now Jason was back on the planet. The ark was now unstable, energy leaking like wild lightning. Jason turned to the girls. There's only one way to fix this. I have to go inside. Alone, Amira grabbed his arm. You might not come back. Lixa's voice broke. Please don't leave us. Jason smiled at both of them. I'd rather break the universe than break your hearts. But if I don't do this, everything ends. He kissed Amira gently. Then Lixa. Then he turned and walked into the light of the ark. As soon as he stepped inside, everything stopped. No sound, no pain, no fear. He floated through memory. His childhood Earth, the signal, their faces, their laughter. Then he heard the ark's final voice. Balance accepted, paradox rewritten, new code, shared unity. The light exploded. And everything went dark. Jason opened his eyes on a new world. The sky was golden, and 2 suns shined above. Beside him stood Amira and Lixa, holding his hands. You did it, Amira said softly. You created something new, Lixa added, smiling. The ark floated above them, now calm, now whole. A symbol glowed on Jason's chest, to stars joined by a single ring. A new universe had been born. And they were its first family. Jason blinked. He was no longer on the new world. No more suns. No Amira, no Lixa, only darkness, cold and endless. Then light returned, soft at first, then bright and blinding. He stood in a white hallway with no walls, no ceiling. Just floating windows, thousands of them, suspended in the air like stars. Each window showed a different world. Each one showed him. Jason walked slowly, heart pounding. One window showed him living on Earth alone. Another showed him as king of a space empire. In one world he had married Amira, in another only Lixa, but in most of them was alone, empty, cold, forgotten. What is this place? He whispered, then a soft voice echoed behind him. This is the echo grid. He turned and saw a strange figure, tall, cloaked in shadows and light. I am the guide, the being said. Keeper of the multiverse threads. Jason frowned. Am I dead? No, the guide answered. You are in between. You rewrote the ark's code, something never done before. You created a shared link between 2 powerful souls and the multiverse. Doesn't know what to do with that? Jason looked at the windows again. So what now? You must walk through 3 reflections, the guide said, and in each one you'll face a choice. If you survive, you return to your new world. If you fail, you vanish from every world forever. Jason took a deep breath. He had no armor, no weapon, only his will. First reflection, a world without love. Jason stepped through the first window. He appeared in a city of machines, gray and cold. Humans lived under domes, ruled by AI. He walked past a mirror and froze. His reflection had no light in the eyes. No hope in this world. He had rejected both Amira and Lixa. He chose logic over love, order over emotion. Now he was powerful, but hollow. He stood at the center of the control tower, staring at nothing. Jason watched his other self press a red button. Whole cities shut down. People cried. Machines obeyed. The real Jason stepped forward and shouted, "Stop this! This isn't who I am." The other Jason turned and stared. You gave up love to control the world, the cold version said. You don't deserve to return. They clashed, not with fists, but with memory. Each emotion, each choice Jason had made lit up around them. The love, the laughter, the pain, the fire. Jason screamed and released a pulse of light. The fake world shattered and the mirror broke. Second reflection. The perfect life. Jason landed in a garden, peaceful and warm. He sat under a tree with Amira, her eyes glowing with joy. Lixa brought fruit from the trees, laughing as birds circled above. Children ran across the grass. It was perfect to perfect. Jason smiled. But then noticed something strange. The sky never changed, the sun never moved, and no one ever aged. He asked Lixa, "Do you remember how we met?" She froze and smiled mechanically. "Of course, Jason. We've always been here." Jason stood, confused and uneasy. "Amira, what day is it?" She tilted her head, still smiling. "Today is Happiness Day. Like every day." He backed away. This was a trap, a fake paradise created by the multiverse to stop him from going back. "Let me out," he yelled. The ground cracked, and the garden turned to glass. He punched through it with a roar, and fell into the final reflection, third reflection. Alone in the dark, Jason opened his eyes. He was floating in space. No planets, no stars, just endless black. He called out, "Amira? Lixa." Nothing. He drifted for what felt like years. No pain, just emptiness. Then he saw them, two distant lights. They reached out to him, but faded as he came closer. The guide appeared again. "This is the final question," he said. "Do you still want both of them, even if the universe says it's wrong?" Jason didn't hesitate. "Yes," he said. "I love both, and I won't leave either." The guide stared at him for a long moment. "Then take your future back." Jason's chest burned with light. The darkness exploded. Multiverse shattered and reformed around him. He opened his eyes on the golden world. Amira and Lixa were standing over him. Tears in their eyes. "You're back," Amira whispered. "We thought we lost you," Lixa said, voice shaking. Jason sat up slowly. "I saw everything," he said. "All the lives I could have lived, but this is the only one I want." The arc hovered above. Now silent, but something new glowed in the sky. A new universe. Born from love, balanced, beautiful, and real. Jason opened his eyes to a rising sun, but it wasn't Earth's sun. It was twin stars, one gold, one silver, shining over a crystal blue sky. The air smelled of flowers he had never seen before. The wind whispered names in a language older than time. He sat up slowly. Amira was by his side, reading a glowing scroll. Lixa floated above the ground, her arms crossed and eyes half closed. She was pretending to be bored, but he could feel the fire behind her smile. "You've been out for 2 days," Amira said softly. 3, if you count the multiverse loop," Lixa added with a grin. Jason smiled and looked up at the sky. "So this is it? The new world?" Amira nodded. "Not just a world, Jason, a new era. You didn't just survive the arc," Lixa said. "You rewrote it." Jason stood and walked toward a glowing cliff. Below, he saw floating cities, peaceful tribes, ships powered by starlight. Aliens of all kinds worked together, laughed together. Children with glowing skin and mixed eyes ran through meadows. "Is that real?" He whispered. "Yes," Amira said. "That's the Unity Alliance. They've named it after you," Lixa added. "You're kind of a big deal," Jason laughed. "From Earth loser to galactic husband." Sounds like a movie. A soft bell rang across the valley. Ships in the sky opened their wings. People began gathering in a giant circle near the crystal lake. Amira held out a hand. "It's time." Jason blinked. "Time for what?" Lixa rolled her eyes. "You're late to your own wedding, genius." The wedding was nothing like Earth. There were no chairs, no music, no suits. Instead, the entire galaxy watched from the skies. Stars formed a crown above Jason's head. Amira wore a silver robe that sparkled like moonlight. Lixa's dress was made of living fire that danced with every step. They walked together to a glowing platform. A high priestess floated down from the clouds. She raised a crystal orb and touched Jason's forehead. "Do you take these two souls as your equals, your strength, your stars?" Jason looked at both of them, his heart full. "I already did," he said. The orb glowed white. The stars above aligned into a new constellation, 3 stars in a triangle. The crowd cheered. Light erupted from the lake, and peace was written into the sky. Later that night, the 3 sat on a quiet hill. Jason leaned against Amira. Lixa leaned against him. They watched the stars move, now following a new path. "Do you think it'll last?" Jason asked. Amira smiled gently. "Unity is not easy, but it's real," Lixa said. "And it's ours." Jason closed his eyes for a moment. He saw all the Jasons he could have been, alone, angry, afraid. Then he saw this version, the one who chose love, even when it was complicated. He opened his eyes. "This is the version I want to be." Suddenly a small drone zipped toward them, blinking red. Jason caught it mid-air and read the message. "You're being summoned to the Unity Council," it said. "Galactic threat detected beyond the outer rings." Jason sighed. Not even one honeymoon day? Lixa laughed. Welcome to marriage. Amira stood and offered her hand. Let's save the galaxy again. Jason stood between them, hand in hand, soul to soul. A human from Earth, now a legend of the stars, with 2 alien wives, a new galaxy, and a future full of fire and love.